Solve the inequality minus 1 less than equal x over x minus 1, x less than 4. So this is the case of joint inequalities evolved of rational expression. In here, the rational expression is x over x minus 1. So to solve these questions here, similar like the other joint inequalities that we have previously, where I'm going to consider first, I'm going to break the joint inequality into two parts, where the first part, as I highlighted in green, the second part I circle in red. Then both of these will relate by using the relationship of n, which is going to intersect the solution for each of the case later. So as a result, now our answer begin with first the case 1, which is I highlighted in green, the case 2, which I circled in red. Their relationship is the n. Again, the relationship n is important to state there. Then, as you can see in these solutions here, is typed in red because just for you to know that this may not be a compulsory step in the future, as usually the first case here, instead of writing as constant on the right, constant on the left, x term on the right, we usually have it the other way around, where the x term on the left, the constant on the right. And the next line is the form that usually we will just write in, where as if like from this one, we flick it to the other side. And you see the mouth of the inequality is facing the x term. We just flick it. Then the rest of them is just the same follow through. Okay. Now, from here, we have two cases with the relationship of n, which I call as case 1, case 2. So in order to solve this inequality, please be extremely alert. The way to solve this case here is that we're going to find the solution for case 1 and case 2 separately first, then only we consider the relationship of n, which is intersect. So as a result, let us refer to case 1. So for case 1, to solve the case of rational inequality, I would like to have the right hand side here to be equal to 0. So to get rid of this minus 1 here, I'm going to plus 1 on both sides. And there goes the answer, x over x minus 1 plus 1. Now the right hand side is 0. Next, I would like to have the left hand side here to be in the form of single fractions. So the plus 1 here, I want to convert into a fraction form with the denominator of x minus 1. So 1 will turn out to become x minus 1 over x minus 1, and make them into a single fractions. I will have the result as follows. Lastly, I try to simplify the terms here, and then if necessary, I need to go on further for factorization to get everything in terms of linear factors. And in this case here, once I happen to simplify, I will just get linear factor directly, 2x minus 1 over 2x minus 1. And this whole thing greater equals to 0. Reach up to here, we're going to proceed with solving this rational inequality using number line, where I'm going to start with an assumption let, and this assumption let, we're going to take effect on those linear factors that I highlighted in yellow respectively. So for the case of 2x minus 1, it will be the case of greater equal to 0. For x minus 1, it will be the case of x minus 1 greater than 0. So for your informations, there is a difference of the sign here. One of them with equal, one of them doesn't. How we determine that is that we're going to determine based on the sign here have equal or not. And for your informations, this assumption here, we always use positive assumption, which is greater than 0. With or without equal depends on the sign here. But no matter what, we always do positive assumption. We always let greater than 0. Go on. So each of this inequality here will turn out to become x greater equals to 1 over 2. The other one will be x greater than 1. Next, what we will continue is that we will draw number line according to the assumption that we have made. So based on the assumption that we have made, we have x greater equals to 1 over 2. We have x greater than 1. By referring to the numbering here, we're going to put these numbers here into our number line where I have 1 over 2, 1. And this numbering here will help us to identify the interval that evolve, where in this case here we consider of first, second and third interval for considering solutions later. So start with x greater equals to 1 over 2. The number line will happen to be a then circle on 1 over 2 and then all the way to positive infinity as you have greater sign. And with the positive assumption, those interval with line will always be plus, without line is minus. Then follow next one. For the case of x minus 1, the number line will be this part here. Again, those with line will be plus, without line will be minus. Next, we combine the sign for the final conclusion to get the solution for this case here. So we have minus minus plus, minus plus minus, plus plus plus. And what we require for this solution here is, by referring back to the case that we have, we are asking for the case of greater equal to 0, which is asking for the case of plus. So for the case of plus, the solution will be these two, and the corresponding interval, if I write in interval notation, it will be negative infinity to 1 over 2, close bracket, union 1 to infinity. Then this is a solution for case 1. Now we're back to case 2. So for case 2, we're going to do the similar thing, where first of all, I would like to have the right hand side here to become 0. To get rid of the 4, we minus 4 on both sides. So now we obtain the 0. Next, the left hand side, I want it to be a single fraction terms. So I need to do conversions such that 4 convert into some terms that over x minus 1. So it will just be 4 times of x minus 1. And the next line, when the time we write it in the single fractions, this is the result that I have. Proceed. We try to simplify the terms on top. So we expand the negative 4 inside the brackets. I will have it as x minus negative 4x, x minus 4x plus 4 over x minus 1 less than equals 0. And as a result, I have negative 3x plus 4 over x minus 1 less than equals 0. Reach up to this step here, just for your informations. For negative 3x plus 4, it's alright if you want to just keep it in this form here. You don't have to do something to change the coefficient to become positive. You can just from here proceed like what I do later. Of course, if you would like to have this one here changed to become positive coefficient, then you can have everything multiply with negative 1 and have the result of 3x minus 4 over x minus 1 greater equals 0. But once again, it's not necessary here, because as long as we have linear terms, we'll do. So I will proceed from what I have here, go on. So reach up to here, each of the linear factors that I highlighted in green here, I'm going to start with an assumption to draw number line. I will do let, and once again, the assumption is always positive assumption, so it will always relate with greater 0. So with that, I will have negative 3x plus 4 greater than equal to 0, x minus 1 greater to 0. And for your information, again, why there is 1 equal, 1 without equal is the equal sign depends on this part here I highlight in blue, whether have equal sign or not. And for your information, once again, the denominator shall never ever equal to 0. Therefore, you can see for the top terms, negative 3x plus 4, we have equal. Denominator, we don't have equal. And once again, even though here is less than 0, assumption is always positive assumptions. simplify each of this, then we draw number line. So we have it as x less than equals to 4 over 3. The other one is x greater than 1. And go on. By referring to the numbering I have here, 4 over 3 and 1, we draw it accordingly into the number line. So I have 1, 4 over 3, and this create the border as follow. And we have 1, 2, 3 interval to consider the sign. Start with x less than equals to 4 over 3. So I suppose I have a dense circle. Less than equals to 4 over 3, it will travel all the way to negative infinity. The sign will be plus, plus, minus, because with positive assumption, the part with line is always plus, without line is minus. Then the other one is greater than 1. So greater than 1, it will be an empty circle on 1, travel all the way to the right. And again, with line is plus, without line is minus. Combine the answer for conclusion. Minus plus minus, plus plus plus, plus minus minus. And what we're asking for here is we want to have less than 0. So this is the case of minus. So minus will be these two parts here. Minus will be these two parts here. And these two parts here, the corresponding answer in interval form will be from negative infinity until 1, open brackets, union, close bracket, 4 over 3 until infinity open. And now what we're going to do the next is that for each of the case solutions, we're going to draw into another number line to decide the relationship of intersect. Okay. So for the first case solutions, I'm going to draw in the number line, but before that, let us identify the numbering that we have for each of the cases to do plotting on the number line, so that later it will be easier for us to refer and draw. So let's see, the smallest number among those I highlighted will be 1 over 2, followed by 1, 4 over 3. So now for the first case, I will have the interval to become dense circle on 1 over 2, travel all the way to negative infinity, empty circle on 1, travel all the way to positive infinity. And both of these arrow here is supposed to be on the same level because come from the same set. Then the other set, let me use another color to represent it. So it will be from 1 all the way to negative infinity, not include 1. Then from 4 over 3, with a dense circle on top of it, all the way to positive infinity. And what we want here is that we want intersections. Therefore, the solution will be the part that I highlighted in blue now. And interpret them into the corresponding answer in the form of interval notation, and set notation will be as. For interval notation, I will write on the left here. So the answer for interval notation will be negative infinity, open bracket, negative infinity, all the way until 1 over 2, close, union with from 4 over 3, all the way to infinity. So for set notations, I will have curly brackets. Within it, we discuss on the variable x, so we have x, colon. Then for this first part here, it will be x less than equals to 1 over 2, or the second part, my bracket is too small, let me erase it. So I will have it as x greater equals to 4 over 3, close bracket. The first, the second. So this is how we get the answer for these questions here.